The rain hammered against the roof of a small roadside tavern, the kind of place where untold stories lingered in the air like cigar smoke. Clint Eastwood had stopped for a quiet drink, hoping to escape the weight of Hollywood's expectations. But some stories refused to stay buried. At the far end of the bar sat an old man, his face etched with deep lines, like a forgotten map leading to a past no one cared to revisit. He raised his glass in silent acknowledgment. "Ever felt lost, son?" the man asked, his voice gravelly yet steady. Clint smirked. "Not in a way I couldn't find myself again." The man shook his head. "No, I mean lost so deep you don't even recognize yourself anymore." Something inside Clint shifted. The man wasn't talking about directions, he was talking about redemption. The old man introduced himself as Joseph Calloway, a name that meant nothing at first. But as he spoke, his tale unfolded like a forgotten Western, one of regret, lost chances, and a final shot at redemption. Decades earlier, Joseph had been a feared gunslinger, not in the movies, in real life. He had ridden with outlaws, believing himself invincible. He spent his youth chasing power, only to end up with nothing. "I thought I was the toughest man alive," Joseph admitted, his fingers trembling around his whiskey glass. "Until I met someone who wasn't afraid of me." A woman named Clara had looked at him without fear. She didn't see an outlaw. She saw a man capable of change. She begged him to leave his past behind, to start fresh. For the first time, Joseph had listened, but the past doesn't let go so easily. His former gang tracked him down, demanding loyalty. Clara pleaded with him not to fight, but Joseph had no choice, not for himself, but for her. On a bitter gray morning, Joseph stood alone against 5 men. He didn't draw first. He didn't want to, but when the gun smoke cleared, only he remained. He had survived. But Clara was gone. She had left town, unwilling to live in a world built on bloodshed. "I spent 40 years searching for her," Joseph whispered, his voice breaking. "But you can't outrun the things you've done." The bar had gone silent. Even the bartender had stopped wiping glasses. Clint sat back, absorbing every word. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked. Joseph exhaled slowly, sliding an old, yellowed letter across the bar. "Because, Mr. Eastwood, this was never just my story." Clint frowned. Joseph's hand trembled as he gestured toward the letter. "Clara wrote this, but I never had the courage to read it." Clint carefully unfolded the fragile paper. His eyes scanned the first line. "Joseph, I forgave you long before you ever left." The old gunslinger shut his eyes, a single tear carving a path down his weathered cheek. Decades of guilt lifted in a single sentence. Clint sat there, silent, the weight of the moment pressing down on him. This wasn't just a story. This was a film waiting to be made, a story of redemption, of second chances, of a man finding his way back to himself. Years later, when Unforgiven was released, critics called it a masterpiece, a film about a man haunted by his past, seeking one last shot at redemption. But what they never knew was that it wasn't just fiction. It was the true story of Joseph Calloway, the lost gunslinger who finally found his way home.